Welcome to FTMO Performance Talks, the podcast about trading performance for serious traders. In today's episode,
just because you ask specialists for help, it doesn't mean that you are failing.
I'm always telling to my clients that the answer is already within themselves.
If I want to get rid of the bad habits, I need to replace them with something else.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Performance Talks. I'm Nelly.
And my name is Michael. It's a big pleasure for us to be here after a little break we took.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. So, Nelly, I would like to start right off the bat. And could you tell me what you find interesting recently in your sessions?
I'm meeting like a lot of people from different backgrounds during the sessions because we are working with people from like all over the world. But what I found like in common recently is that some people would come to the session and they would tell me like at the beginning, while like I asked them to introduce themselves, they would like start to tell me that they were maybe a little bit scared or nervous, just maybe even like when I'm asking them the basic question, how are they? They would even like start with this, like how they are like nervous about like having the session and so on. And I find it like very often, I don't know how about yourself in your sessions, like during your sessions?
Yep, sometimes yes, but I was thinking what they were nervous from, or from, did they tell you the reasons?
Yeah, so basically it's because of their expectations, like they don't know what to expect from the coaching sessions, or like they've never visited any psychologist before, they've never visited even like any therapist or coach.
Yep.
And then they're like coming to my sessions and like again it's going back to their background, right? Because sometimes it's really like a taboo in some like societies to actually like go and visit some specialist, and then they're kind of like afraid to open themselves. And also very often what I can see is that they would like repeat the mistakes over and over again, and then it's kind of like they think that they can like overcome it by themselves, but then they see how like basically like this pattern in their behavior, like it's still like repeating and again and again and again, and even though they know about these like errors, they're not able to like avoid it. And then while like having the session with them, I can see that they would be like very embarrassed because of that. Can you see that in your sessions? Like, is it something common for you as well?
Yeah, I would say that first thing, the fear of maybe reaching out for help it's a big step to say, okay, maybe I need an assistance because I cannot handle it by myself. So it's a big step, and for many people it's difficult because we want to make it by ourselves, we want to prove ourselves that we can do it. Maybe, as you say, sometimes we find it embarrassing that just asking for help, that means that I'm failing.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
if you think from objective perspective, just because you ask specialists for help, if you go to visit a doctor or someone, it doesn't mean that you are failing. So, yeah, I can see it as well. And the other one about sticking with the old patterns. Yeah, it happens, and I think that sometimes people have a little bit off their expectations. So they expect that the change will happen after one session or after one call, which unfortunately it's not the case, it's not the truth.
It's unrealistic expectation again.
Yeah, sometimes I had clients that after the session something clicked, and then when we get in touch again after several months, they told me, you changed my perspective, but actually I didn't. I cannot change anyone's perspective. I can offer some questions, maybe my perspective, my opinions from my experience, but then the change you need or they need to make themselves.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
and if it doesn't happen, as you say, sometimes they get, or everyone, because it's, you know what you should be doing, but then you don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I see big difference in rationally know what I need to do and then do it on practical level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, like I'm always telling to my clients that the answer is already within themselves. So I think that goes like to this thing with like repetitive behavior. Like they know what they are supposed to do. It's just really putting that into the action. And also it goes to that sort of like different perspective, or like just answering to your questions within the sessions and realizing how do things actually are. And I know you must be bold to actually like really, like you need the courage to come to the sessions. But then, as you said, sometimes it is really just about like having that, even like one conversation with someone, or like having that one session, and something can like change like immediately. It can be like something small, and if it doesn't change, I mean, it's totally okay. Like people always feel, as I said before, like they would feel like embarrassed, but I would say it's a really common thing, and it's just like totally fine. And then that actually leads me to another thing, which is, like having this like first session, and then like trying to put all these things we've been like talking about during the session into the action. Maybe can be like easy at the beginning because you feel like motivated after this like conversation with, I don't know, like any specialist, maybe with you or me. And then after some time, you can get back to that behavior because it's something what is like deeply like rooted inside of you. It's like it's something what you've been actually repeating over a really long time, and now you want to like change that pattern. Maybe you feel like strongly motivated after the session because it's something what you wanted to do even for a long time. But then, of course, like your motivation can drop a bit. You can kind of like get to that like old bad habits, let's say, or to that old behavior patterns. And then I can see that, like sometimes the people would be like afraid to even like come back to another session,
Yep.
Maybe sometimes it takes them like a longer time. Like they wouldn't like attend the session every single month. They would need to like regain that like courage again, you know?
Yeah. Maybe it's even worse than before first session because you took or got the courage, you went to the session, you discussed something, you made a plan, and then you derail from that plan. And of course, it feels embarrassing because you know exactly, and you know that the other person you've discussed your issues with knows as well, and that you just didn't meet the goal. And I would like to say that it's completely fine because, as you say, if you do something for several months, or maybe even years, I'm talking about patterns in trading behavior, what is the likelihood that it will change after 1 hour? And also the other thing is, if I want to get rid of the bad habits or habits I don't want to have, I need to replace them with something else, which is desired behavior. And the only way how I can do it is to do it consistently every single day and work on it. Do you have any method for this, how our traders could approach it?
As you said, like it's about like having that sort of vision, right? Or like having that sort of like a plan of what would actually that like ideal version of you, you know, what would that, let's say that professional trader, what is that version of you or that professional trader, what that person is supposed to do. So like having that plan, knowing what is actually that correct behavior.
Yeah, so having like a plan or rules or system, or just I know exactly what I should be doing, like it needs to be precisely set, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. And then I would say what is the game changer is really focusing on that process rather than on the result, you know. So basically when it comes to trading, very often traders would just like be so stuck on what should be their result, you know. They are so stuck on those like numbers, they're having some expectations regarding the percentage and so on. But if they're not gonna follow the process, if they're not gonna stick with the process, they're never gonna reach it, you know. Like if you're gonna focus like mainly on what you want to gain, you can like you are tending to basically forget about what you are supposed to do.
But you are talking about money right now.
No, yeah.
Yeah, because if I'm thinking like from the trader's perspective, because if I will put a goal that I will follow my good trading patterns or good trading behavior, then it's a goal I should follow, right?
Yeah, that's amazing goal, but unfortunately from my experience, I can see very often that this wouldn't be the goals which my clients tend to set for themselves. I don't know, like what is your experience regarding this?
Setting goals, it's very different for everybody. I would say that what we are talking right now is more about what do we expect from trading and what do we expect that I need to do every day. And I wanted maybe discuss a little bit more how practically someone could change the unwanted behavior. Yeah. So I was thinking about any method, like one can do single day. Maybe if you could shed some light on how to define or start the process of change.
Yeah, so basically it's going back to that plan, right? So like having that particular plan about what you are supposed to do and then really keep a track of it. So basically I would say, as you said before, like having some sort of like a checklist, you know? And again, it's going back to that process orientation, because then it is going to help you to actually stick with that plan, what you are having for yourself. So maybe having everything written down, you know, having that particular plan, like knowing where you actually tend to do the mistakes, and then like being aware of it in a real time. So basically, even though you're like stressed or emotional or whatever, you know what you are supposed to do. And then if it is written down and if you need to check it, then this is something extra which would help you to stay on a track. And I mean, of course, it's a process. It's a process again, and you know, like we are all human beings. As we said, like we maybe have these patterns for years.
Yeah, so it's important to not get discouraged by not meeting my goals 100% right after I start. Yes, so basically what you are saying is to define the bad behavior. If, for example, I tend to overtrade, I know that overtrading is when I derail from my trading plan, basically, or when I take worse quality of setups. So the good behavior would be I need to have all the setups with best or 90% of confirmation I want to see, or it depends on how I will define it. But what is very important is I need to define very precisely how good behavior will look like. So it could be type of setup or number of confirmation or type of confirmation, whatever it is. So I have found the bad behavior, I know the good behavior, and then the process is to every day watch what I'm doing. If I'm keeping my bad behavior or if there is anything changing.
Yeah.
And as you say, the change doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen over a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does, and it's
And that's
beautiful.
amazing, yeah.
It's beautiful, but if we want to be realistic, more likely it's not the case. It took a long time to develop those bad habits. It will take some time to get rid of them. And even the change is small, the more I'm approaching my desired behavior, that's a success.
Yeah.
Because as you say, that's the process.
Definitely.
And every step forward is a progress. And sometimes maybe I will do some step backwards. And it happens as well.
And it's fine.
It's same like if you look at the equity line, it's even though you can make profits over time, sometimes you are in drawdown. And same goes for changing the bad habits or good habits. So I would say, yeah, just stick with this method and you will be surprised that after some time you can see big progress, but you don't see it on day by day basis.
Yeah.
And what's nice, or what I would say it's good help for this, is to have some accountability with someone. FTMO traders could use our services. You can book a session with us, and then you can discuss, okay, so this was my plan, I didn't follow it, and of course we can find out why, because maybe there are some external factors, maybe there are some internal factors. Most likely they are both of them.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know,
it's complex.
it's not a big deal.
No, it's not. It's not. And well, if you don't have any opportunity, like, I don't know, like the coaching session with us, or maybe, you know, like it's difficult for you to find someone who can like hold the accountability for you. I mean, you can always track it by yourself. You can always journal, right? I know I'm repeating myself again, and maybe it's like annoying for all of you because in every single...
I mean, yes, but still, this approach, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And of course, for some people, it's better, maybe.
Yeah.
But what it takes is a big amount of responsibility and honesty you need to have with yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to close one eye and say, oh, yeah, it's kind of according to my strategy, and yeah, I'm kind of meeting my goals.
Like justifying all the actions
but,
that you want to do,
but then
they're not like
if you have someone who will look behind from your shoulder and, I mean, in friendly way, will say, hey man, what you are doing, this is what you're saying, this is what you do. So it's
different.
Yeah, it's a different type of feedback. But yeah, as you say, if anyone doesn't have the access or doesn't want or whatever the reasons are, still better than nothing.
Yeah.
And you need to try to see what suits you.
And because this is not an easy journey, I'm always saying reward yourself. Like, if you're gonna see that improvement, I don't know, like for example, like being able to behave as your best version of yourself, you know, like if you are able to follow that plan which you actually created for yourself, then I don't know, if you are like able to stick with it like week in a row or 2 weeks in a row, doesn't matter, that's very like individual. Try to create some sort of like rewarding system for yourself, you know?
Yeah,
so something was gonna like keep you motivated in that like shorter period of time.
Yeah, so basically appreciate your progress and your efforts you put in the change or in the efforts to change. Okay, fine. So I think that there is something our traders can use. And if you don't have anything else to add, I would like to thank you for being here with me today and wish everyone good luck with trading.
Yeah, thank you for being here with me as well. This time it was really a while, so it's nice to be back. And same for me. Good luck with everything in your trading, and yeah, I wish you good luck also with making the changes. And don't be scared to come to our sessions. Yeah.
This was FTMO Performance Talks. And for more, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, SoundCloud, or subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content from FTMO. See you next time.